Joining us now, Brad Meltzer. You know him, of course, from TV. He's a protector of history. He's the writer of great books, including children's books. And he's got two new ones that I think your kids are going to love. Welcome, Brad Meltzer. Thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me back.
It's great to have you. You've got how many of these have you written now? Of the I Am series.
Yeah, so there's 22 now. When I first went into the publisher, I said I want to build this library of real heroes for my kids, where I could teach them compassion and kindness, and most important, that thing that is lost in America today is character. And they said, oh, I love this. I Am Amelia Earhart. I Am Abraham Lincoln. That's great, 2 books. And I said, no, I don't want to sell you 2 books. I want to sell you 100 books. I want to help you build a library. And we are now almost a quarter way there.
Wow.
Oh, a quarter way.
Wow. So you are churning these out then. When did you? So it only started a few years ago, right? How long ago did you start the series?
Pat, listen, I know it's crazy, but you were here for the first ones. We've done this now 6 years.
Yeah.
We did I Am Rosa Parks, I Am Albert Einstein, Jackie Robinson. I don't know if I ever told you this, but when the 2016 election was hitting 4 years ago, something amazing happened with the books. Is 2 of our books started selling more than any others. And they were I Am Martin Luther King Jr. and I Am George Washington.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't a Democrat or Republican thing. It was that parents and grandparents on both sides, as they were watching Donald Trump and Hillary argue on television, they were just tired of turning on the TV and seeing politicians. And what they wanted to show their kids were leaders. And we all know there's a huge difference between politicians and leaders. And I love the fact that people now use the I Am books to fight back against the cynicism that they see in America today.
And so your 2 latest, I Am Anne Frank and I Am Benjamin Franklin. Now, Benjamin Franklin, one of, I think, almost everybody's favorite founding fathers. What can you say about Ben Franklin that is disparaging? I mean, he was an abolitionist. He was an inventor. He was seemingly a pretty good guy in virtually every way. Tell us about the I Am Benjamin Franklin book first.
Yeah, so, this book was written, each book is always written not just for the historical part, of course, which we care about, but is the moral value that's at the center of it. And what Benjamin Franklin, we all know him, of course, for his experiments on electricity and flying his kite. But to me, his greatest experiments were the ones he did on himself to be a better person. He was always trying to better himself. And one of the things that he would do is he would actually keep rules to live by, rules to make himself a better person. And I love those. And he used to write them down. And the rules were very simple. They would say, number 1 would be that you got to make sure that you always are frugal. You don't spend your money on things you don't need. You got to make sure that you always tell the truth. You got to work hard. And one of the most important ones is don't speak badly about other people. And I know our kids today, they look at us and we're all fighting with each other, right? Everyone's like, this one did this and this one did that, and I blame them and I blame them. And I want my kids to know there are fights worth having, but you got to teach your kids about accountability. And Ben Franklin knew that the only way you change the world is you must start with yourself. And I love that about him. And I want my kids to learn that accountability from him. And the other thing that I wanted them to learn, is Ben Franklin, this is crazy, but he helped edit the Declaration of Independence. He edited Thomas Jefferson. So Thomas Jefferson at 33 years old writes the Declaration of Independence. And Ben Franklin's basically like, I got some notes, right? And he comes in and it's Jefferson writes, we hold these truths to be sacred and undeniable. And Ben Franklin is the one who says, no. How about this? We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. And that's Ben Franklin's editing. And I want my kids to know also, my kids are always like, this drawing didn't come out good or this writing didn't come out good. I'm like, listen, even Thomas Jefferson got edited by Ben Franklin. It's okay.
Something I learned, I was just opening up your book and reading through it a little bit a few minutes ago, and I learned something immediately. I didn't realize that Ben Franklin got his first job at 10 years old. 10.
Oh, that is no accident. That is, my kids are always complaining, always are like, because I always say, like, I worked when I was 15 years old. I had to go to work. I used to scoop ice cream at Haagen-Dazs in the mall. And I said, my kids were always complaining because I make them get jobs. I'm like, you got to get a job, and I don't care. And Ben Franklin, at 10 years old, they were like, "You're going to work." And it wasn't even like they were like, "Oh, you're going to deliver the papers." When we did I Am Walt Disney had a paper route, very cute, adorable. Ben Franklin, they were like, "This is what a blacksmith is." This is like, they were like, "You mean work, like," and that's how it used to be. And I love the fact that we do that. I also love that Benjamin Franklin is there, as standing up for the free press and making sure we understand. I love the fact when he used to publish his newspapers, he didn't just publish his own ideas. He published those of the opposite side. And he said, if you just listen to one view, you're only getting half the picture. You're not an informed citizen. And I love the fact that Benjamin Franklin reminds us why the founders thought it was so important for the press to make sure to keep our leaders in check and make sure there's someone always asking the other side.
Explain how he became a published author.
This is also, again, ingenuity is what the I Am Benjamin Franklin as a book is all about. And I don't think there's anything more ingenious than what you just picked out. Is Benjamin Franklin's brother is running the newspaper. He knows if he submits a letter that he wants to publish, his brother's going to be like, "You're my stupid younger brother. There's no way I'm publishing it." So what does Ben Franklin do? Ben Franklin writes a letter, but he gives it a fake name. And he gives it the name Silence Dogood. He gives it literally like a fake female name that is really Benjamin Franklin in disguise, uses the pen name. And his brother's like, "This woman wrote to us and she's a genius."
He's the first troll, right? Isn't that right?
He is the first troll. That's fantastic. But Benjamin Franklin is one of my favorite. We always start these books, and this may be truthfully for kids, because these are kids' books, obviously like age 4 to probably 12 years old. And the pages that are the most important is we always show you the hero when they were little kids. So you see Benjamin Franklin when he was a little boy. He was ingenious even then. He used to have experiments where he loved to swim, and my kids love to swim, so they immediately like him. And he said, I realized that if whoever's hands are bigger and feet are bigger, they go faster in the water. You could paddle faster. So he makes these homemade, almost like oven mitts. He puts them on his feet as well, like flippers, homemade flippers. And suddenly he starts flying through the water. And my kids, when they read that, Benjamin Franklin is no longer a black and white figure in a history book. Ben Franklin's alive again, and he's bold and he's daring and he's fun. And now they'll follow him anywhere. They'll read the entire book of I Am Benjamin Franklin, knowing that he's just, these aren't the stories of famous people. This is what we're all capable of, being ingenious, being creative, being clever, improving yourself. Those values are what are in the book. But we're all capable of that every single day.
I love this. I know you probably didn't look into this or write about this in the book for children. But one of the things that bugs me about when people talk about Ben Franklin is his womanizing. Now, in all of your research for this book and all the research that you do, have you ever seen any evidence that Ben Franklin was this player? Because that's how every single movie depicts him.
No, they always make him like he's like the guy in the bar is like, hey,
baby,
hey, right,
yes,
right. And you know what? I did not like. This is what I did find. What I found was, listen, Ben Franklin was a member of the Hellfire Club. That's the greatest name of any secret club. I want to be a member of the Hellfire Club, right? It's like the best name. And the Hellfire Club was a secret society, was a group that used to have great parties in France. Does it mean he hit on women? I have no idea. I don't know where the proof comes from. I don't know where.
Right.
But he certainly liked to go to France and drink. And again, but that's what you did in France. That's what people still do in France. So, to me, obviously, as a kid's book, we did not
didn't delve into that.
There.
Yeah.
Right. That was the part we decided to go over. But we don't hide from the fact that, Benjamin Franklin, we put it in the book. There are people who will say, oh, he owned slaves. I'm like, we put in the book, he also spent the last years of his life, as you correctly said, as president of an organization against slavery.
Right.
And we got to remember, like people want to say, oh, the founders did this, the founders did that. I'm like, are they good? Are they bad? Are they complicated like the rest of us? And you know what? They are. Mm-hmm. And I always say, if you're looking for perfection in a person, you're going to find no one. There's God, and then everyone else take a number, right? Like,
yes.
We all are flawed in ways, every one of us. And to me, that does not make you not a hero. That makes you human, and it's okay. Like, that's what makes you beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Also, Anne Frank. I mean, an amazing story. What lessons can kids learn from Anne Frank's story?
Yeah, and this may be the most important book we've done in the Ordinary People Change the World series. So I always look around at what I want for my own kids. And anti-Semitism right now is at a 40-year high. There was a study recently done that said millennials don't even know basic facts about the Holocaust.
Oh, I'm sure.
Our kids, right? Our kids need hope today. They need hope. And there's no better way to teach it than with Anne Frank, the little girl who hid from the Nazis in an attic, but yet still thought people were good at heart. And I want my kids to know that even in the darkest places, you can always find light. That's what hope is. It's a fire, and it burns within you. And when you put it on, nothing puts it out. And that's what, as a book, I Am Frank is. Again, no question, the most important book I think we've done.
What's up next in the Brad Meltzer empire? Do you have more? Do you know who you're going to do next for the children's series, and do you have any novels coming out?
Yeah, so I'm working on the new thriller right now that I'm trying to finish up, truly, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. The next kids book is I Am Frida Kahlo, which is this amazing artist, which is obviously I wanted to. We had a lot of requests for our kids. Always write. They go to our website. They go to ordinarypeoplechangetheworld.com. Parents will say, "Can you do this book? Can you do this hero?" Kids are very different. Kids demand who they want. They're like little terrorists with a list of demands. They're like, make this book, write this book, do this book. Frida Kahlo was one of our most requested heroes that we had, and we love doing her. And then the other thing is PBS took our kids' books and they turned it into a cartoon TV show. So you can now watch our kids' books come to life every episode on Xavier, Riddle, and the Secret Museum. It's about Xavier, his sister Eugenia, their best friend Brad, cartoon character of all time, and they have a problem every episode. Like they've been bullied, so they go back in time. They meet Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks teaches them how to deal with bullies. They come back to the present day and use it. And that was actually last Friday's episode. So it's been fun to watch us take. I want to put Ben Franklin in there. We just obviously did George Washington. We've done Abraham Lincoln. I love the fact that we get to bring these heroes. We did Jackie Robinson to life, and it's been just the most amazing reward to watch the I Am series come to life.
Do you do these digitally? Can you just buy these like in 10 seconds on the internet? I suppose you would lose a lot of the really cool illustrations and things if you did that, but
no, we do. You can buy them. You can buy them as ebooks. The truth is, parents don't want my thrillers. People buy as ebooks all the time. And interestingly, parents don't want their kids on ebooks because it's another device. And I got to tell you this story about Anne Frank because I just remembered. It just reminds me.
Okay.
This is why you want a story that you read with your kids. Although you can download it, have fun, but this is the story about because you need to see the art. Is one of the great pages in the book when Anne Frank goes into the attic, we ask Chris Eliopoulos, our amazing artist, to actually shrink the book so that when you're reading the book, instead of being full color pages as half the book is, when she goes into the attic, the book starts shrinking the space. So there's black on top, black on the bottom, and the panels themselves get smaller and smaller. So you feel that claustrophobia. And my favorite story in the Am Frank and I Am Frank is Anne Frank had one window. Her only view from the attic was one window, and out the window was a chestnut tree. That's her view to the world. And all she could see, she couldn't go close to the window because if she did, people would see her. So all she could see was this chestnut tree. In the winter, the leaves would fall off. In the spring, leaves would grow back. And this was her YouTube. This was her phone. This was her Netflix. And eventually, of course, Anne Frank dies. They preserve the house where she was. It's a museum today. They try to also preserve the chestnut tree, which they do until 2010, when the chestnut tree gets blown over. But here's what happened, Pat, is they take the saplings from the tree and they start planting it all over the world. And today, there are chestnut trees blooming, Anne Frank trees blooming all over the globe, stronger than ever.
Wow.
And I love giving my kids that lesson and showing them. When you read I Am Anne Frank with your kid, she becomes a part of your kid's life. Your kid becomes a part of her life. And that you plant a seed of basically strength and resilience. And I love the fact that this book, when you read it with your kid, gives your kid a resilience you never realized they had.
Hey, Brad, this is Keith. Now, in hindsight, you mentioning the next book is Frida Kahlo. I mean, that's a little sneak peek of that in the Anne Frank book with her pinning up a picture of her up there. So that's pretty smooth move, by the way.
Well, yeah, you
planning ahead.
You are a wizard. One of the things we hide in every book secret things. So you can find
really?
me hidden in every book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I knew you were in every book. Yeah, but okay. But
I'm like the ball. I'm like the ball wears Waldo now. So
That's right. That's right. And can I just say,
we put Superman in every book. We hide him. Sometimes it's Clark Kent, sometimes it's Superman. Oh yeah, every
Do
book.
you really?
I gotta go back and look at this.
Oh, that's cool.
That's
We
great.
put the number 27. The number 27 is hidden in every book, also in every one of my novels. We also hide in every single book, in every I Am book. We hide the next hero. So when you read I Am Amelia Earhart, Abraham Lincoln's hidden in there. You read I Am Abraham Lincoln, Rosa Parks is hidden in there.
That is awesome.
And you can find everyone. And kids love.
Yeah.
They're literally, the day the book comes out, they will write to me and say, I know who the next hero is. So obviously the book just came out, so now the cat's out of the bag.
That is so cool. Okay, and just one last plug for you here, because I got to do this, man. My kids and I, we read, the first conspiracy, the secret plot to kill George Washington, and we read the Lincoln conspiracy about the first plot to kill Abraham Lincoln. These aren't children's books. These are, written. There's historic books, and they are such good resources for homeschoolers. Read those books.
Oh my gosh! Our homeschoolers, for us, homeschoolers' number one supporters, like librarians and homeschoolers for the I Am books, have been incredible because the values are there in a way that we're not seeing anywhere else. And but as you said, I'll tell you this is homeschoolers love the fact we had such demand from homeschoolers for the first conspiracy. We actually did a young adult version of the first conspiracy. So you can now read the first conspiracy as a young adult set for basically that junior high school kid or even that very good elementary reader. It's pretty amazing to watch kids around the country.
And they're such great books that, the adults get just as much out of them as the kids when you read them with them.
Yeah, no. Those books have been rewards. I didn't, like a gift to myself because I have all these kids now telling me how much they admire George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. And again, my God,
so
we
important.
Need those lessons.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Of those heroes today.
So important. Brad, thanks a lot. BradMeltzer.com, best place to go to get these?
Yeah, you can get those. Ordinary People Change the World. Amazon has I Am Frank half price right now, so get it before they change the mind up.
Brad, thanks a lot.
$7.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll put the link up
Love
at
you guys.
Pat Unleashed on Twitter. Thanks, Brad.